Have you ever received something that made you question your entire life? Not a message. Not an email. Not a phone call. A real letter. A letter written by someone who knew your deepest fears, your forgotten dreams, and the future you never imagined. A letter that arrived when you had nothing left. Because sometimes, the thing that saves your life does not come when everything is perfect. It comes when you are about to give up. My name is Emma Carter. I was 28 years old, living alone in a small apartment in Chicago. From the outside, my life looked normal. I had a job that I paid my bills, that I smiled when people asked, "How are you?" But the truth was, I was tired. Not just physically tired. I was tired of feeling stuck. Every morning, I woke up and asked myself the same question. Is today going to be different? And every evening, I went to sleep with the same answer. No. My life had become a routine. Wake up. Go to work. Come home. Sleep. Repeat. Years ago, I had a dream. I wanted to become a children's book illustrator. I loved drawing. I loved creating characters. I loved making pictures that could make people smile. But dreams do not always pay the rent. So I chose safety instead of passion. I accepted an office job. It wasn't horrible. But it wasn't my dream either. It was just ordinary. Until one Monday morning. Everything changed. When I walked into my office, something felt wrong. Nobody was laughing. Nobody was talking. The room was silent. My manager stood near the meeting room with a serious face. "Everyone, please come inside." My heart started beating faster. I knew something bad was coming. He looked around the room. "I have some difficult news." The company had lost a major client. Money was becoming a problem. Some employees would have to leave. Then, I heard my name. Emma Carter. For a few seconds, I couldn't understand what he said. The room became blurry. After 5 years of hard work, I lost my job. I packed my belongings into a small cardboard box. A coffee mug. A family photo. An old notebook full of drawings. That was everything. When I walked outside, rain started falling. Heavy rain. Cold rain. The kind of rain that feels like it understands your sadness. I went home and sat in darkness. I didn't call my friends. I didn't tell my brother Daniel. I didn't want anyone to see me as a failure. The next few weeks were painful. Every day, I searched for jobs. I sent hundreds of applications. Marketing assistant. Office worker. Customer service. Anything. But nothing happened. No interviews. No phone calls. No opportunities. My savings slowly disappeared. One evening, I opened my refrigerator. There was almost nothing inside. I looked at my empty wallet. Then I whispered, "I need a miracle." And at that exact moment, someone knocked on my door. Knock. 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 I froze. Nobody visited me. Especially not at 7 o'clock at night. Slowly, I walked toward the door. I opened it. Nobody was there. The hallway was empty. Only the sound of rain filled the building. I looked left. I looked right. Nothing. Then I noticed something on the floor. A white envelope. My name was written on it. Emma Carter. No stamp. No address. No explanation. I picked it up. It felt strangely heavy. I almost threw it away. Something about it felt wrong. But then I saw the back of the envelope. 3 words were written in blue ink. Your future depends on what you do next. My hands became cold. How did someone know my name? How did they know where I lived? And why did they leave this for me? I closed the door. For several minutes, I just stared at the envelope. Finally, my curiosity became stronger than my fear. I opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper. The letter said, "Dear Emma, if you are reading this, it means you still believe life can surprise you. I know you lost your job. I know you are worried about money. I know you feel alone. But you have forgotten something important. You have forgotten who you are." I stopped reading. My heart started beating faster. Nobody knew these things. Nobody. The letter continued. You have 2 choices. You can throw this letter away and continue living the same life. Or you can trust a stranger. Then came the strangest part. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, go to Maple Street Library. Walk to the history section. Take the 3rd book from the left on the 2nd shelf. Bring this letter. No name. No signature. Nothing. This is impossible, I whispered. It had to be a joke. But the next morning, something strange happened. I couldn't stop thinking about the letter. Every few minutes, I looked at it. At 8:30, I checked the time. I knew it was crazy. I knew it made no sense. But maybe I had nothing left to lose. So I grabbed my coat. And I went. 20 minutes later, I arrived at Maple Street Library. It was an old building filled with thousands of books. I walked upstairs. Found the history section. 2nd shelf. 3rd book from the left. My hands shook as I pulled it out. For a moment, nothing happened. I laughed. I knew it. But then, something fell from inside the book. Another envelope. My smile disappeared. The envelope said, Emma Carter. Step 1 complete. I opened it. The message inside was short. You almost didn't come. But you did. That means you still have courage. I read the next line again and again. You did not lose your dream. You only stopped believing in it. My eyes filled with tears. Because it was true. I had stopped drawing. I had stopped dreaming. I had stopped being myself. Then I saw the final instruction. There is a cafe across the street. Order hot chocolate. Sit by the window. Wait 30 minutes. Someone will arrive. I didn't understand. But somehow, I trusted the letter. I went to the cafe. I sat by the window. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. Nothing. I was about to leave. Then, the cafe door opened. A man in his 60s walked inside. He looked around. Then his eyes stopped on me. He smiled. Like he had been waiting for me. He walked to my table. Emma? My heart stopped. How do you know my name? The man sat down. My name is Thomas. He placed an old notebook on the table. Then he opened it. Inside were drawings. Beautiful drawings. Drawings I recognized. Because they were mine. In the corner of one picture was my signature. Emma Carter. I looked at him in shock. Where did you get these? Thomas smiled. Because 8 years ago, you left your sketchbook behind. My breathing stopped. The old art competition. The day I thought I had failed. Thomas looked at me. Emma, talent does not disappear. You only stopped believing in yourself. For years, I thought my dream was gone. But maybe. It was only waiting for me to return. Thomas gave me a small key. Studio 7. What is that? The place where your next chapter begins. That day, I opened the door to Studio 7. Inside was everything I had forgotten. Paintbrushes. Blank canvases. Colors. And another letter. The final letter. It said, Emma. You thought life closed every door. But sometimes. The door was never locked. You simply stopped trying to open it. The next day, I went to Riverside Children's Hospital. There I found Mrs. Wilson. My childhood art teacher. The person who had written every letter. She smiled. I knew you would come back to yourself. She told me about the children's art program. She wanted me to teach them. At first, I was afraid. I don't have enough experience. She smiled. You have something more important. You have a story. Months passed. I began teaching children. I started drawing again. And slowly. I changed. The letter did not give me a new life. It reminded me of the life I already had. Today, I still work at Studio 7. I still create. I still teach. And whenever I feel afraid, I remember those words. Your future depends on what you do next. Because every person has a choice. We can stay where we are. Or we can take one small step forward. And sometimes, one small step can change everything.